Hey guys, thought I'd do a little tutorial video on what I did with my digital audio workspace Reaper to get these BDMC songs up to date. If you don't know me, I'm Caleb. I do mixing and play trumpet and sometimes keys for Bloomington Delta Music. So let's just jump right on into it. Reaper is a great digital audio workspace because it lets you work in both MIDI and just normal audio. And you can see here on this personal project that we've got two MIDI tracks, a MIDI drum track, and then a normal audio file. And one of my favorite things about Reaper is you can just change this time base whenever you want, and it even lets you go into samples, which is great for latency, but we don't really need to get into that. What we care about is the fact that we can change from minutes and seconds to measures and beats, which was the first thing I did after I took all of the songs from our composite track that I then deleted, which I shouldn't have, but oh well. I took all the songs, split them out, put them into their own projects, and then set it up so that I had it by measure, just so that I could think about it a little bit better. Try and match the tempo. So what I did here, because we couldn't really multi-track, we could only record the stereo output. There wasn't much mixing I could do apart from EQ and other effects. So what I did was I took the EQ and I played around with it until I got the sound I wanted. And you can kind of hear the effect of that if I pop in here.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
No effects.
And when he died, oh, he left this wasn't home. Hey! Papa was a rolling stone.
So what I'm hearing there is that there's not really enough of the bass sound that I want, not enough of the bass drum, not enough of the sparkle from the cymbals, and too much vocals. So what this EQ does is it brings it all up and then takes it all down. But it brings it all up to a point where I can kind of see what I'm doing, and a point where we can really drop this feedback range, which we needed to do since we were recording in a basement with diagonal monitors. Kind of messed up the mics a little bit, but you win some, you learn some. So after I did all the EQ and stuff, this is what it sounds like.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, oh, he left this wasn't home. Hey!
So what I'm hearing now is there's still not really enough sparkle to the cymbals, but the vocals and the bass and the mid to lows all sounds a whole lot better. And that's a combination of putting this reverb on them, which I wonder if I can kind of poke around with here, see if you guys can hear it. Okay, so there's a huge delay right now because I'm running it through the Microsoft Sound Mapper rather than through the ICO Sound Mapper. So it's kind of weird to talk, but you can kind of hear the effect of these settings that I have on just my voice. And then this is my voice without any of those things. Okay. So that's what those effects do. The reverb, the compressor just kind of makes the sound, it gives it a little more punch, and it also limits how loud it goes. And the big thing was the EQ. This is where the bass drum kind of sits. This is where the bass sits. Low mids, kind of where that synth is. Synth kind of gets up here-ish, which is also vocals. These vocals tend to be right here. And then this is where the feedback was. And then this is where the sparkle of the cymbals should be. See if we can bring that up a little, make it a little better.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, oh, he left this wasn't home. Hey! Papa was a rolling stone, my son. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, oh, he left this wasn't home.
if I were to remix it a little bit, well, not remix it, but like, mix it again. That's the kind of changes that I would make if this is what was given to me. Now, normally when you're mixing, you don't do it like this. You don't have a stereo thing and then you just do the EQ. That is a thing you do at some point, but that's not what you start with normally. Usually what you start with is something like this, which is the multi-track. This is a little demo track I made of me just messing around with things in my room. And I have not actually mixed it at all. So let's, except for some panning. So let's see what I did, whether I like it. So there's a pin. Okay. So the pin's got a little bit too much of the high register to it. So I'll put an EQ on there and then you can hear for yourself what that kind of sounds like when I take the high register down. Bring the mids up. I actually like it with more high register, interestingly. I don't think it gets too thin there. Sounds more like the pin. So we save that. And then we come up here. I already did a little bit of reverb on this, I guess. So let's give that a little more of that. And take out the lows. We don't really want any mids in there. We want a lot of lows though, so let's make that a band filter. Yeah, that's better. And this hi-hat sound is just me kind of speaking. Not EQ'd at all, so let's add some. And we want the hi-hat to have a lot of sparkle, and the sparkle's part of the highs. We want to get rid of some popping. Give it a little more body. So, that's the basics of mixing with Reaper. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you liked that, please drop us a message. I'll try and put out more videos if you want them. You can find me over at Caleb Musics once the WIUX finally kicks us off. Thanks a bundle.